Well, I meant to record this a few hours ago, but here we are. Instead, I ended up hanging out with Saito for a stream. A whole bunch of our community joined in the voice chat. Um, and honestly, I think that's kind of what I needed for an evening instead of just working on recordings. Was to just unwind and be around people who are also into a lot of the same things I'm into, are just there to have fun, have a good time, have a conversation. Um, it is honestly why I want to at some point start doing some other projects that start involving other people. Um, I think I mentioned it in these a while back, but I don't remember. I at some point want to just get a time slot figured out where I can like carve out some time in the week, or just an evening in the month, and just occasionally to be able to invite someone into a space where I'm recording, not necessarily physically. It could also just be over Discord or something like that, because of the wonders of technology and my software being versatile enough that I could actually set things up and make it look presentable. And then all we have to do is have a conversation. But the idea being that I want to have people come on, just like we pick a few topics, or even just one if it's a really wide and diverse topic that we could talk about for a few hours on its own. Um, we just geek out for a little bit. If it's something that I also understand, awesome, because then I can also kind of help contribute to the conversation. But if it's something that I don't understand, my planned role in it is to just be able to ask the questions of like, okay, well, what about this? And explain this and explain this and explain that. So, okay, you mentioned this. Now I'm really curious about it because it seems to tie into all these other things. You know, I am, for better or for worse, actually pretty good at finding the connections and asking the questions. And I don't mind asking questions that make me look stupid if it helps remove uncertainty and helps further explain the subject better. Um, because I have learned that a lot of people are actually very afraid to ask the question. Um, instead, they're just going to sit there and hope that someone else will ask the question for them. And I really learned that in my job as as a lifeguard trainer, um, and as a manager of a pool, is that I would be in a class and I would know like the things that I'd be sitting there wondering about when I was first training, and I'm not hearing anyone asking about it. So I'll just sit there and go, okay, I'll ask it just because I think I already know the answer, but I know other people are going to be confused, or are maybe curious about it, but haven't had the guts to speak up because they don't want to have people laugh or joke at them or anything like that. Um, Look, if you're in a class to learn a skill and you are a novice, you don't know what you're doing. Yes, there's no shame in it. There's nothing wrong with asking the what seems to be the most like simple question, the most obvious question, like the question that you feel like you should already know the answer to. If it's confusing you, ask it. The people who run training, the people who teach, the people who run classes of any sort are often doing it because they have a passion for that subject. And even if it's something really mundane, if you ask them, they're going to be excited. They get to talk more about the subject. Someone's interested enough in the subject to actually ask anything about it. Like that's that's exciting to people. They're not going to judge you harshly for it. Now, if you're asking some stuff where it's like they literally just talked about it and went into great detail on the subject, and then you ask them like, yeah, what was this? And it's pretty obvious you weren't paying attention in the first place. They might get a little annoyed with you because you weren't paying attention when they were trying to impart the information, and now you're trying to catch up. That is on you. You should have been paying attention the first time. But, you know, at least you're asking, you're trying to actually understand this time around. You realized that, oh, that information was important. I was thinking about what I'm going to get for lunch. Worry about lunch when it's lunchtime. Um, Yeah, like I just want to bring people on and have them talk about stuff. There's a few regulars in my chat that like honestly my mod I could bring on and we could talk Gundam. We could talk Transformers. I'm sorry, Zach, you don't like that. I'm sorry. You're not in a touchy mood today, are you? Yeah. I'm starting to learn this guy's moods too and understand his communication a little bit. There he goes. Yeah, he didn't want to be touched, and I didn't fully realize it. Okay, leave me alone. I'm gonna see. We're done. But yeah, there's a few regulars who like are really into anime and particular anime. In some cases, or certain franchises and stuff like that. I want to get Loopy in on a conversation at some point, and we just talk music because I he actually is a teacher of music, and I think it would be fun to be able to actually like really get down into a conversation with someone who has such an um, deep understanding of at least the basics of a lot of the stuff, and a few things that he considers himself to be like somewhat mastery, have a mastery in. So yeah, I don't know. Like if you're interested in kind of stuff, like let me know what subject you'd like to hear about. Chances are I know someone who think. Um, and I actually just as an excuse to hang out with some haunt friends, would love to get some of my haunt friends on so that we can just like talk about what it is that goes into building a haunted house, running a haunted house, designing a haunted house, uh, coming up with a haunted house character, acting in that character, getting scares, the different tactics we use. Like we could honestly do several videos about that. We could break it up into different subjects. I could just be like across a course of months, just be like, you know, once a month, guys, let's just get together on a video call and let's just talk and let's just riff and let's just bring up the basic ideas and like our philosophies on things and help also demonstrate that there is no right way to do the thing that we love to do. There are many methods and there are many ideas on how to approach. Um, because the thing that like the last time I hung out with them, we all kind of like agreed on was we all have different ways of approaching a scare and of getting that reaction from a customer and of having fun with it. I personally don't do pop scares. I don't do jump scares. I make sure I am in the middle of the room. What is my cat? I make sure I'm in the middle of the room. People know I'm there, and I make my presence known, and I just try to intimidate. At the very least, even if I don't get a reaction out of them when they pass through my space, I have built up the tension for when they go into the next. That's my philosophy. And that's just a quick little like 15-second blurb about it. I could go into it for a long time. And I know if I got people in and we were kind of going back and forth on stuff, we could cover the whole breadth of it. And it could honestly be like an hour long conversation on just how we approach scares. So if that's the kind of stuff that is interesting to people, I would love to do that kind of content. Um, but again, I don't think I'm gonna get any comments on here. I barely get anything other than an occasional praise, or someone trying to make fun of me. Bring it. I went through public school, guys. You probably can't come up with I haven't heard before. So anyway, be excellent to each other. Be excellent to yourself. I hope to see you. Goodbye.